Hello, one and all. Live from the MOTN in downtown Eastside, the park is open. Welcome to Daddyland. I'm your comptroller, Carson. Let's welcome the mayor to the stage, Cooper Johnson.
Hello. Hello, everybody. He couldn't have fucked that up even more. It's okay. You know, it's okay. We're all a little fresh. You're a little tired today.
What did I do wrong?
You did nothing wrong. You did everything right, actually, so don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. So before we bring our guest on stage, I have a couple things to get out of the way first. I have a bit of a problem at the house that I need to sort out, and I'm hoping I can field opinions either from the Daddyland universe or from you, Carson. Do you know if spiders feel anguish?
Like pain or the emotion of
Like
anguish?
emotional, like sorrow, like they lament.
I don't think so.
Good, because recently, normally if I have spiders around, I let them live, because I don't have a problem with spiders unless they invade my personal space. But there's two spiders in particular who have been in my closet, and they kind of like hang out kind of on the roof. So they're not touching my clothes, so I'm like, whatever. But I checked on them today. What I thought were two of the same sex spiders, turns out they were partners because they have a litter of children that are in a little web in the corner of my closet. And I was going to genocide all of them in one go, but then I checked this morning and one of them is missing. So there's only one spider and then all the babies, which I'm assuming is the mother and all the babies. The father is out, I am assuming, hunting and gathering. I don't know what to do because I'm afraid if I kill it and he comes back and his family is slaughtered, that he will try to kill me in the night. That's my concern recently. So I just want to know if they have loss and do they experience it on just a deeply emotional level.
You don't want a Clint Eastwood spider coming after you.
Exactly. No, I don't.
Unforgiven style.
I don't want a spider to come and kill me in the night because I killed his family. Like, he's gonna wake me up and it's gonna be like that scene from fucking Sicario. Like, he's gonna have you and Aiden sat at a table and he shoots you guys first and then he kills me. I don't want that to happen, but I know it will happen. Or at least in my head, that's what's gone through my head, is something that could happen. So I'm very scared, and I'm fearing for my life currently. But yeah.
Given that they're in your closet too, they could be refugees from another, maybe
Even worse, spider country.
spider country, yeah, where there's an even bigger genocide going on right now.
Which then makes me an even badder guy. Like, I already feel bad because they've done nothing wrong except be spiders, which by virtue of anything is not a bad thing, you know? But
They've escaped Nazi spider Germany,
and now
found it.
they're starting a new generation of spiders because clearly they've escaped turmoil and now they have a new chance to start a new life for their family.
Shit, so the kids are growing up displaced from their home.
They're growing up. They're second generation Cooper's Closet Canadian citizen spiders from wherever they came from before, which I assume was outside. And like, it makes me feel like a bad guy too because I have been very welcoming of them. They're aware of my presence because they know I go into the closet almost every day. So like, and they know that I haven't done anything. So either they assume A, they haven't seen me yet, or I haven't seen them yet, or B, I'm okay with them being there, which it is the latter. But now that they have children, I am, like, there's a lot. Spiders have a lot of kids all at once. And it looks like fucking 12 kids and counting in my fucking closet, and
That wasn't part of the deal.
It wasn't part of the deal. Not that I ever made a deal with them originally, but I don't know if I can handle housing fucking 13 little baby spiders running around my room, eventually growing into the size of them, because they're not small. They're not small spiders. They're not like wolf spiders. They're almost like daddy long legs, I guess. But they're not small, and I don't know if I can handle a whole colony, because you know that once that happens, they're going to have more, because as far as I know, incest doesn't count if you're a spider.
No, if they don't have anguish, yeah, that doesn't.
They just do it with each other.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck it, this is great.
The other thing too is you genocided the ants earlier.
I did,
this
yeah.
week or last week.
So I've got a lot on my conscience already.
But I think, ants are pretty resilient already. So I know you genocided them, and not to take anything away from your work, but do you think there's maybe a possibility that the ants have not returned because the children spiders have started a war with the ants and they're winning?
No, because the spiders are far too young still. They're little
Okay.
munchkins. Like I'll show it to you when we get back. They're little. They're like
I don't want to see
they're
it.
little specks. They look like pieces of dirt. But I just know that they're baby spiders. So I'm not worried about. I don't think they're doing the job yet. I'm pretty sure that the root cause of the ants being gone is because I wiped out entire generations of them in one go.
It was that's a lot of gas.
There's a lot of gas. The house smelled bad, but I had to do it because they were going to eat. We leave food out, not me.
Not next to our shoes. Why were they? They're only hanging out next to our shoes.
Well,
There's no food there.
maybe that's a wake up call for your stinky ass feet. Thank you, everyone. I'll be here all
I
week.
keep my shoes in my room.
Michael, you can laugh. You don't need to.
No, I told him not to.
It's not going to pick it up anyways. You
will.
change. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
No, he can't.
So we're here in our new stage. This is the new setup for Daddyland for the future now. We are here officially at the MOTN, and eventually, if we ever do live shows, this is where we will be. So I think this is a great new setup. It's a bit weird. I'm not looking directly at you when I talk, but the show must go on, and half the time I'm trying to pretend you're not even here anyways. So I think it works out perfectly. This is my show.
Okay, I'll do the intro better next time, all right?
We had a conversation about this, Carson and I, when we were in the midst of this move, where I realized that the show is about me. For the longest time, I didn't want it to be about me. That's a lie. I wanted it to be about me, but I was avoiding it. Like, I was avoiding the shame that came with that self-absorption. But now, fully leaning into it, show's all about me. That's Daddyland for you, baby.
Just now you're leaning into it.
Yeah, just now.
It was such a burden to bear.
Yeah. Okay, I have a segment. I'm bringing back an old segment called Coop's Complaints, because I got some things that I've been complaining about recently. Let me see. Okay, I complained about the spiders already. Okay. Why the fuck? I see this all the time when I'm driving around, and it makes me really mad. Why do people not make the sides of their houses look cool? You see this a lot, and like, because people are so vain that, like, they want to make the front of their house look absolutely luxurious. You see it a lot in places like Surrey, and even out here, too. Like, you have these grand fronts of the houses, and they look fucking beautiful. But then you just move a little bit to the left, and you see the side of the house is just fucking the ugliest thing you've ever seen. It is just a blank slate. There's not even any fucking, like, there's no 3D-ness to it. It's just flat, and the color, and they don't even use, like, if they put, like, cool tiles on the front, those do not transition to the side. The side is just fucking regular old, what's the word? Stucco? I don't know. It just looks bad, to my opinion. And to me, that's just the symptom of, like, because, like, they're not like mansions, because mansions all the way around are decorated because they can afford it. It is just a vanity thing for being like, oh, I'm like middle class, upper middle class, and they build a house so, like, just the front of it looks fancy, and to me that's so telling, because I'm just like, you're not really rich. You're just rich. You're rich enough to afford the front of your house to look nice. But the rest of it, the facade cracks, and you can see that it's fucking boring, and I don't like it. It's like me. I've got a killer front profile, but my side profile is fucking horrendous. So, like, I'm just as guilty, because I heavily rely on my front profile, but my side profile, so that's my one complaint. It just makes me mad because, like, it is so telling to me that I'm like, okay, you're just doing this because you're vain. You know, Like, you don't want to have a normal looking front of your house. You want a luxurious looking front of your house, but then you put all your money into that, and then you just walk around to the side of the house, and it looks like garbage. Whereas you go to a mansion, and the whole thing is like wrapped in gold because they can afford it, and then they're showing off because they know they can show off.
What would you do to, change that? Not like, because the best solution. I mean, this is not the best, but it would be to just make the whole house look like that. But that would be giving people money that they need to make the whole house look good. So what it would, but we don't want to do it. We don't want to give people money. That's fucking.
Yeah, that's
we want the money.
Why would I ever give anybody money?
So what's your solution to this
I think
problem?
the solution should be that you strip it back a little bit. You kind of like people are rushing too hard to look too fancy, where like I think less is more. So what I would do is I would peel back a little bit out of the funds you're putting towards the front of the house and just kind of displays it so that it goes all the way around the house. You know what I mean? Like just to kind of like just instead of going like you do this with your money, go all the way around, and then you have a nice looking property. Maybe not the most luxurious looking property, but if you can't afford it, maybe you shouldn't be trying to go all in on the whole luxurious looking house thing if you're not going to at least put in the effort to make the sides of your house look nice. So that would be my thing. That's my realistic answer.
What's your answer? Because you're the mayor of Daddyland.
Yeah.
And if these houses existed in the town of Daddyland,
They would not exist in Daddyland.
What type of legislation would you pass to?
Well, if by chance someone does show up and they have this house, like they walk into Daddyland one day and they have their because everyone who comes into Daddyland, they walk in with a like a kind of one of those like old kind of like they got a stick and then they got like a little bandana. It's got all their stuff in it, and then behind them they're pulling a wheelbarrow, and on that wheelbarrow is a house because you have to bring your own house to Daddyland. It's BYOH. They bring their house and they sit it down, and I have to go up and I inspect all the houses to make sure they meet the Daddyland, because we have a standards here, okay? So I walk up and I inspect the house, and if their house has ugly sides and too much pretty on the front, you cut off their hands first. Actually, no, you cut off the hand of the guy who built it. So you have to get the guy that built it to come back, and then you cut off his hand, and then after that, I kick him out, and then we you know what? We demolish the house from we completely restart.
So you're not you're not a fan of trying to pass legislation that incentivizes people to finish the house or even to spread it more evenly. You just like to punish people.
Well, no. Yes and no. The house is already finished. That's the thing. Like that is.
But I mean the decorum would surround the whole thing, right? It's like because there could be a law that's like if you put this much money into the front, you have to put equal money into the sides and the back.
Well, Carson, I think we need to set a precedent. That's what I think.
That's what I'm asking.
I don't think I'm in the interest of punishing people. What I think is that I'm in the interest of maintaining a status quo, and what that status quo is like I don't want to see any of that in the Daddyland neighborhood. I don't want to see any houses like that at all. Okay, so if you come into Daddyland and you have a house like that, either we're going to cut your hands off and demolish the house, or we're just not going to let you in.
What's the ideal looking house in Daddyland look like?
That's a good question. I quite like the modern. I'm kind of torn between two types of houses. I like the modern kind of take on houses where it's very a lot of hard edges and a lot of emphasis on dark wood, and then also like colors like black and white. Like you'll have like limestones, all that kind of stuff. Like I really like the looks of those houses. But I'm also a big fan of the good old-fashioned log cabin. Not a Lincoln log cabin, like a log cabin with just like actual normal wood framing. So those will probably be the two things. It'll be a nice mix of like modern and like kind of like an old-fashioned log cabin-y type houses, depending on the certain. There'll be different Daddyland neighborhoods. We're not like gerrymandering any districts or what's it called? What's the other word when you fucking.
Dude, I fucked up the intro. I can't think of good words.
He's a sleepy pee-pee today.
Yeah. We should be thankful this is even recording, or I'm speaking.
Yeah.
I need all that.
Yeah. But, we're we're not gonna fuck it. Like, just it'll be a little bit like we can't have those two kind of things be together. There's gonna be a kind of log cabin-y type neighborhood, and then a modern house looking type neighborhood. I'm not segregating. I'm just saying like stylistically it makes more like because that's another problem I have with houses is I don't like how inconsistent. Like I'm not looking for white suburbia where every house is the same, but I think you should have a theme because sometimes you go into like some neighborhoods in like Surrey where it'll be like huge luxurious looking house and then it'll just be like your regular suburban house because what people do is they buy a house in those neighborhoods, tear it down, and then build a mansion out of it.
Well, this would go with the theme park idea where you could have, like Disneyland, you have different areas. You
Yeah,
have
yeah.
log cabin area with more trees. Maybe it's a bit, has some mountains and rocky hills. And then you have the kind of more, it's like a plain or just, flatter ground. You have the more modern houses.
And then we have like a kind of like a summary section
Yeah.
where it's kind of like the houses are kind of like the ones you see in Mexico. Like they have that kind of like pottery type roof. And
they're
like,
all different colors.
yeah, they're all different colors. Kind of like a little bit of mix of Greece and Mexico. And those will be a lot of emphasis on like sand. And every house is a pool because we make it hotter in that area specifically. Like that area year round, 30 degrees every day.
What
Like
do you
we
think?
have devices set up that make it hotter in that area specifically.
Do you like Vancouverism as a design for cities? With because downtown there's no houses obviously, but everything is designed to look a certain way, and it's the bluer glass and the building's a little bit curvy and all that.
I think like
Because I think it looks cool next to water. But
Yeah.
it's definitely not a look that works with every city. Like I've heard in a lot of foreign countries now that because Vancouver downtown, not from a traffic standpoint, but from an aesthetic standpoint, is one of the best designed cities in the world. As like it's very cohesive, and other cities around the world try to base themselves off that. But I don't know if it works if your city isn't next to the Pacific Ocean. You know what I mean? It blends in nicely. What do you
Yeah.
think about that?
I think Vancouver from far away is probably one of the most beautiful cities in the world. But under a microscope, I can't say I'm a huge fan of the city.
So you wouldn't want a water section of Daddyland with Vancouverism design in the buildings?
No, we could have a city portion with like apartments and stuff like that. I just think it would be a little bit more better coordinated.
Again, I'm not talking from a what do you call it, infrastructure standpoint, but just a pure looks. Do you fuck with the Vancouverism?
Yeah, but
design?
here's what I'd do, okay?
Okay.
More greenery. I'd kind of have like a system where like, kind of like I forget what city. It's like there's a lot of like it might just be purely concept art, but I really like seeing buildings when they really emphasize like they have like kind of like not like the abrasive ivy, but like the nice kind of like just like a nice plant that like clings to the building.
Oh, it's like the apartments near Park Royal.
Yeah.
With the yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So you
nice.
have that. You have a lot of emphasis on green. That would be my ideal city because that works perfect with like already the blue glass of Vancouver. Is you have a lot of emphasis on green, like with like lots of plant life going up and down the buildings. All the buildings look like that too. Like it looks like a fucking building from The Last of Us.
Dude, so okay, this is perfect then. Leaning even more into the theme park idea, you could have, how in Disneyland or even just any theme park, they have speakers everywhere and the speakers are designed to blend in, but they have music playing out of them, like not loud, but just enough to kind of set the mood.
Yeah.
What would be the soundtrack to each area? It could be an album, it could be a type of music, a genre. Because I imagine for the Vancouverism area,
Plantation.
Plantation, obviously. I was going to say that. What would you want to put for the other? What do you want for log cabin area?
Log cabin area it probably would be like any Eddie Vedder music, like fucking like kind of a lot of like Pearl Jam, like.
Dad rock.
Yeah. And the deserty area would kind of be like, it almost would be, it'd be like house music, but like house music, like kind of stripped back a little bit. Just be like a lot of don't, boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's a little too much. But yeah, it'd be a lot more like reserved, you know. But kind of like anything, you know, like I'm almost gonna like I can't really pick a genre, but like think about how like Mario games like design different areas like musically, like they capture the vibe of like what they're of these certain areas. Like if they're in a desert, you're like that shit sounds like a desert, or if they're in an underwater, yeah,
like, that sounds underground.
yeah. Like it'd be like that. Like we might even have to make new music.
Would you want the same instrument palette for the? Because Mario, especially in the older games, like they had they had to use the same instruments for every song, but they did an incredible job making them all sound unique. Would you want the same instrument palette across the board, just with different tempos and grooves to give them the feel, or would you want a different instrument lineup for each area?
No, I'd want a different. No. I think you know what? It's dealer's choice. I think.
Okay.
I think because I
the
think
mayor,
like
so I think
because
that makes you the dealer.
Okay. Well, I think maybe you know what? Let's do all around the board the same, and they just change it up because you know like the green the forest log cabin area is gonna be like very like probably a lot of more emphasis on like acoustic. But I really like. I feel like the desert area would also be complemented by having like a guitar, you know,
Twangy.
you know, twangy. So I think like the same instruments all over the board. It's a wide selection of instruments because we can afford it. We're building a whole fucking Daddyland. But I think like all around the board, a little more emphasis, like emphasis on more instruments in certain areas, but they all carry over.
That sounds amazing to me. I'd move there.
I'd move there too. I mean, I kind of have to.
You're the mayor.
I'm building it. I'm the mayor of Daddyland. I kind of have to be there. Wow, that was good. I have more things I have to complain about, but I'm glad that we got.
We fixed that one.
We fixed that one. We fixed that issue. Okay. I wish I could wear the same clothes every day without being judged. Kind of like in a TV show, a lot of characters just wear the same thing every day.
Who's judging you?
Myself. Because I judge myself because I know other people probably see me and they're like, I saw him wearing that yesterday. I bet that guy smells like poo-poo shit. And like that, I gets in my head because I know that people always are like, they want you to change every day. And like I change the essentials every day. Like I'll change my underwear, I'll change my socks every day. But I have a pretty narrow selection of clothing and I kind of just like the same clothes. And I also feel like I don't get them too dirty during the day. Whereas I need to change them because obviously if I'm fucking caked in sweat, I'll change it. But like, I don't know. For me, I just kind of like the freedom of just being able to wear the same thing every day because that's cozy to me. That makes me happy. But I walk outside and people look at me and it's like they can see the fucking green stinky lines going over my head and I don't even smell that bad. I showered, but it might just be my own insecurity playing into this. But for my opinion,
do you have a favorite? I guess outfit, not based on design, but on shape and feel. Like, do you have a shorts t-shirt combo? Do you have a pant? Like, what would be the go-to lineup of clothes if you were to have one that you would just wear every single day? Someone coming in?
I think somebody just dropped trash off outside.
Oh, sweet.
Really hoping they don't come in.
Michael, if they come in, can you hit them with a chair? Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. What am I saying? So, yeah.
Ignoring, imagine you're, everyone's, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Forget the design of the clothes or the color of it. Just what's the shape and feel that you like the most?
I don't know, man. I don't know if I have a distinct thing. I think I really, like recently in the last while, I've kind of realized that comfort is the most important thing over anything. So as long as I'm comfortable, I'm happy.
Because in the summer, you're a big shorts.
I'm a big short shorts. I like short shorts. I like t-shirts. In the fall, I'm really big on sweaters. Sweaters are really. I heard a thing from Kanye where Kanye talked about. He said that sweaters or sweatshirts. Hoodies
specifically
are the single most important artifact of clothing
ever
made, and truly they are because everyone can use them. Like even between like the sexes and the genders, like a sweater is universal. Like there are differences between pants and shirts and underwear, but sweatshirts, you could pick up anyone off the street, hoodies, sorry, specifically. You could pick it up off the street. It could be any size. It could be anybody's tailored to any specific person or you know, and it'll work.
Hoodies are cool too in the sense that like you could see 8 people from different economic classes, and all of them could be wearing hoodies.
Yeah.
They might cost more or less, but a $2 hoodie and an $800 hypebeast hoodie is essentially the same thing. It's just the price tag on it. It serves the same purpose, and they also kind of work as a status thing too. A lot of people and girlfriends especially like to steal their man's hoodie and all that stuff. It's
Exactly.
great.
So probably like I want to say in the summer, shorts, t-shirt, pretty comfortable. In the fall, hoodies, jackets, those are my 2 ideal things. Like, and I think like in the summer, if I could, I'd just wear the same shorts and t-shirt every day, and then in the fall, I would wear the same like pants, hoodie, a jacket every day, and that would be the ideal world for me. And I just, but I know that people probably like if people see you every day, they probably judge you, and I judge myself every time I do something like that. Where I have to go out in public, and I know I've already worn it. But I want to get to a world where we don't have to worry about that anymore, because characters in animated TV shows don't have to worry about that.
Okay, so I was going to say, and this goes back to the Kanye thing a little bit. I watched a video a while back, not like he wasn't in it, but it was the designer for the Yeezy website made the video, and he was talking about conversations he's had with Kanye about fashion. I think this is a similar thing, where at the time he was saying that Kanye wanted Yeezy clothing, but just fashion in general to be. He wanted to destroy the idea of fashion, more make it a utility thing. Like he wanted clothing to be about like the feel and the what it does versus what it looks like, and so that's why he adopted this kind of neutral color palette, much akin to Star Wars. And I think that's what inspired him as well, was how Star Wars, all the clothing is
Neutral, yeah.
neutral, but like utility based. Like all the characters, they're wearing what they wear because of what they need to do day to day, and not how they want to look. And in turn, they end up looking cool because of that. But it's based on that. So he wanted Yeezy and the website to be, and I think that's why it's called Yeezy Supply. It's almost like a care package of what you need on the day to day, right?
I might look into that because I could probably benefit from that.
And as the mayor, you could institute something similar where each of the different areas people have specific clothing
they have to wear.
not because of what they need to look like, but because what suits them. Like log cabin area is going to be a different environment, like weather-wise, than desert area, and they're going to need different. They're going to need shit for sandstorms.
Yeah, I like that idea, but also like we have to walk a thin line with that, because I think that's a slippery slope that'll possibly lead to people getting tattoos of their numbers on their arms.
That's the problem as well with the Yeezy Supply thing, because at the end of the day, it's still a business.
Yeah,
and it's very easy. The way businesses are trying to slowly creep in and take over all of society, which we can't have. That we all know why that's bad.
Like I think on another episode, maybe the next episode of Daddyland, like we should circle back to this issue and just keep building on it and figure out how to build the perfect community, because because we have to figure out what if one day a desert dresser walks into like the forest? Like will we police that? Will we allow it?
No, I think I'm not the mayor, but for me as kind of counsel to the mayor, I think just when you go to new areas, you get a care package of what you need to be there, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like we keep them separate from each other. It's just if you live in log cabin area, you have your clothing, but if you go visit desert area for a day, you show up and they're like, oh, here's your clothes for the day.
Yeah.
And you can choose to wear them or not, but it's like, hey, it's hot as shit here. The sandstorms. Here's what you need if you want to live comfortably.
You don't need a big jacket.
And I think you could still pick what color palette you want.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll circle back to that. We're gonna figure out the whole Daddyland thing on another episode, because I have one more complaint.
Yep.
I wish acid lasted 6 hours.
Have you done it recently?
What? No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying I wish it, because I want to do it again, but I'm so busy now that like you have to dedicate a whole day to it. because it's fucking 12 hours. You have to sit down and you have to be like, okay, I'm going to do this today. And I'm going to accept that because I'm doing this today, I'm probably not going to do anything tomorrow because I'll probably feel like crap after. Or at the very least, I won't feel 100%. Whereas if it was 6 hours, then I have 6 hours of being high, and I have another 6 hours of recovery, and that's my day. Regardless, I'm taking out a day, but the fact that it lasts 12 hours adds so much more to the whole recovery process. And I know that shrooms last like 6 hours or so, but shrooms are not as fun, in my opinion. I have more fun on acid.
It's a different experience.
Yeah.
Acid's definitely more extroverted.
So make it shorter if you can. I'm asking all the scientists of the world. We'll get the Daddyland scientists on it. We need to sort this shit out.
Did you try cutting it in half?
I have done that, and it does not work. I'm still as high for as long. It's just not as potent. But thanks for that, Einstein. This guy. Comptroller Carson. S sounds.
Can I change from Comptroller Carson to counsel to the mayor? Or maybe both. I could have two titles.
I think like when we're talking about the actual issues, you can be councilman, but you are the of the actual podcast itself. You are the comptroller.
Got it.
But sure, you can be councilman Carson also.
Or maybe something. I'll find something cool.
I think this is about.
I want a Game of Thronesy type title, like Master of Microphones or something. I don't know.
We'll workshop it. Okay, that's all that I wanted to get through, so I think we should bring our guest on. So please welcome our friend and movie connoisseur, Michael Mello. They can't hear you. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Cooper. How you doing today?
I'm fine. A little tired.
I was actually just sitting on the side the entire time, and I was forced not to talk.
I never said that.
I know.
I never said you.
did.
I never said you couldn't
talk.
talk.
I was actually scared to talk.
So, Michael, you've been on the show before. We kind of made fun of you relentlessly the first time
I
you
got
were
roasted to a T.
But we'll be nicer to you now.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
You know what? I'm doing pretty good. I've been doing a lot of self-improvement, a lot of journaling, a lot of writing, trying to read more.
You got a chain?
I got a chain too. Yeah. There's something about I'm evolving now.
Has that brought the chi up for you, the chain?
Actually, yeah. When I wear it, I do feel a bit more powerful in public, but I don't know. There's something about jewelry that feels nice to wear, not in the way that you want to be better than other people, but in the aspect that I don't know.
It's like when you make a pizza and the pizza's already good, but then you put like 2 leaves of basil on top, and it's like, oh, this is something else now.
Yeah. I want there's something about rings and just necklaces that just they look nice, but I didn't know if I could pull them off if I was younger. So, what
you looking at, Coop?
Checking the time.
Yeah, 30 minutes.
Nice. Wow, I timed that perfectly. Wow. I was thinking I'd bring you on at the 30-minute mark. So Michael, what do you think about our new placement here? Because last time you were here, you were at our shitty garage studio, and now we're on an official set. So what do you think?
I honestly like the setup here. I like the whole stage aspect and the whole neon signs and stuff like that. It brings a more nostalgic, but old school feel to it, to Daddyland.
Yeah.
But the garage was nice, even though it was cold as hell when I got in there. But
you were on in November.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It was a little chilly. Actually, that's not even possible. It was in the new year.
What are you on, bro? Are you on acid right now? He was on 2 months ago.
Who, me? Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
What are you on? I can't be on acid because I drove us here today. It's not possible. Okay.
Oh man. It's always on drugs.
Michael, I have a main point that I want to get to, but I want to say first. Recently, there's been a show that's been going on called The Boys. We've talked about it in the show before, but it's now in its new season. And most recently, it aired what I think might be one of its best episodes ever of the whole series, called Herogasm. And Michael, do you want to talk a bit about Herogasm?
Herogasm feels like a season finale in its way. It's pretty much a whole annual event that soups have in this universe, where they pretty much have an orgy, a soup orgy. But the way they tackle it is just super unique, and the way they converge all subplots and main plots into the soup orgy that happens in the episode. Which I thought the episode was just going to be a soup orgy and just undermine kind of subplots just for the sake of it being over the top. But it actually turned out to be more. It surpassed my expectations. I loved it.
Yeah, no, it was great. I had a really fun time with it. It was really funny. There's a huge action set piece at the end of the episode, which I had it spoiled for me on Twitter, so I knew it was coming, but it was really cool when it happened. Yeah, every episode of this series so far, of this season at least, has felt like it could be the season finale with how much stuff happens per episode. And the fact that we still have 2 episodes left is such a testament to how engaging this season has been, that, like, it felt like a fucking finale, and it's not. We're not even near the finale yet. That's amazing to me.
Like, so much stuff happened in the episode too. Like stuff with A-Train.
There's payoffs to
Yeah.
stuff. There was, like, cool action. There was a bunch of funny stuff.
A lot of development with MM.
Yeah,
his
so
backstory and
It
stuff
felt like
like that, yeah.
felt like a season finale, which the last episode also felt like a season finale. And the show feels really fresh this season because like the first 2 seasons was a lot of them on the back end, just the boys like on the run. But now this season, like they're on the attack this season, and like they're no longer being hunted by the government. I mean, maybe they will be after this episode, but like. It's been really refreshing to see how it's been developing this season, and it's great. Anthony Starr is still amazing as Homelander, and all the other characters are really shining this season too, especially like Kamiko and Frenchie.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think my favorite bit was every single character that showed up to Hero Gasm being like, "Oh man, Frenchie's gonna be so sad."
Frenchie's
to
gonna be
be-
so disappointed. But one of my favorite scenes was the mirror scene with Homelander and in his apartment. At first, I thought it was like a split personality disorder he has, but when I first watching, I was like, "Damn, are they gonna go that route?" But they didn't. But I'm glad. It reminded me of like the Green Goblin way, but the performance and the quick cutting in that scene was so phenomenal, in his acting between like him becoming actually emotionally vulnerable for his ego was so intriguing to watch. His acting is just wow, it's perfection. I love it.
A little, sorry, Cooper, I just had a thought real quick. So I totally agree, Michael. And
Yeah.
I like that part 2 when it started cutting in a way it looked like they were looking directly at each other
Yeah.
because they're looking directly at the camera. So the parallels with that were great. But another parallel I realized a day later after watching the episode is that episode starts and ends with 2 soups having live streams on their social networks and showing the 2 ends of what it looked like, beginning with the Deep doing the Imagine
Yeah.
video, like the
That
happening
was awesome.
Gal Gadot's Imagine video, and ending with Starlight's confession to the
Yeah.
public about all the VOT shit.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a cool way to show, the 2
Like,
ways that
yeah.
social media can
Influence.
be used by people
Yeah.
of power.
Yeah, I like the themes they tackle with political issues or just with like a social commentary on either the media or social media, and the power over that can be more dangerous than people sometimes, which I love it. I'm so invested in this TV show.
There was a bit of drama in the boys subreddit recently because all the conservative people who are fans of the show were like, "Wait, are they making fun of us?" I mean, it's making fun of everybody because the whole Imagine video was such a liberal thing that happened. Like they make fun of both sides, but it's just really funny that like a lot of conservative people are like, "Wait a minute." Like I think they're going into the show expecting Homelander to like become a good guy at the end, which is not what's going to happen. It's only going to get worse for Homelander. Homelander's only going to become more of a crazy asshole. It's just really funny, like seeing them go, "Wait a minute, they're making fun of us."
I was gonna with Huey, I have some predictions on what might happen to Huey, but I haven't read the comics or anything. But I feel like Huey might.
I've been reading the comics and they're a bit different.
Yeah, they seem a bit different from stuff that
Huey's
I've seen.
like in his 30s in the comics, right?
Yeah,
And he's Scottish. It
Well,
was
he's
supposed
based
to
on
be
Simon Pegg, yeah.
yeah. Like I have a feeling that Huey might die at the end of the season just because how power hungry he's getting. I just have a prediction that Homelander might kill him.
I disagree only because I think that Huey is really the main character of the show.
Is. But
He's
there's
our-
also
he's
the
our lead
parallel
in.
between Butcher and him with the
Yeah.
brother. But if Butcher's gonna go in that far deep end, if they're gonna go the route of him, because in the comics he kills his whole team and stuff like that. So if they kill off Huey, that could be a way that spirals Butcher.
No,
into
Butcher's
deep
already
end.
spiraling. That's
Yeah.
that's what they're trying to show is that Butcher's too far gone already. They established that in the first episode of this season when Butcher was like, "Yeah, I'm fine going scorched earth," like, and then he wants all the soups dead, and that's what leads to eventually Butcher's own death. And yeah, so I mean, spoilers, but they might change it because
Yeah.
the show's different. But in the comics, after Homelander is dead, Butcher isn't satisfied. He still wants all the soups killed. So he first, because they know they'll try to stop him, he kills off most of the team aside from Huey, and then he basically apprehends a nuke that he's going to use to kill everybody, or at the very least kill all the soups. I'm not sure how it works exactly, but he apprehends some sort of weapon that is designed to kill all the superheroes, and obviously Huey doesn't want that because he's with Starlight. So. Basically, like, Huey stops Butcher from blowing it up, and then Butcher goads Huey into killing him by, like, saying that Huey killed his dad, even though... saying that Butcher killed Huey's dad, even though Butcher didn't. You find out after that Butcher hadn't, but then Huey kills Butcher, because I think Butcher realizes that he can't help himself. Like, he's got such a, like, this angry fire in him that he can't even help himself to, like, and he just wants to kill everybody and everything. Like and they brought that up in this show too, that his anger is like it's completely taken over him.
Yeah, I like how their powers are part of their character attributes when they take the compound V. Like, Huey's is more of like his attributes of him being shy and awkward with his teleportation, and the anger and like stuff being parallel to Homelander with the laser and strength and stuff like that.
See, in the comics, all they have is super strength. That's it.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah, all of
That's
them.
a way better addition in the show then.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. All of them in the comic, just baseline. All of them are just super strong.
Oh.
I assume they have the kind of more invincible.
Yeah. They're durable too. Yeah. I'm assuming that once they get to a point where they kill Homelander, which I feel like if it doesn't happen this season, it'll be season 4, because in the comics there's a point. It's probably one of my favorite things in the comics is Homelander goes so crazy that he kills everyone in the White House and he just goes, "I'm the president now."
I know he's just like there's like a picture of him just sitting in the chair.
Yeah. So I think that's what they'll do at some point. If it doesn't happen at the end of this season, it'll happen at some point next season, and then that season will end with them killing Homelander, and then I assume either that or if they do like a split season where they do like the first half is wrapping up the Homelander thing, and then the last half is the finishing of the Butcher arc, in which like Butcher becomes the main antagonist, because that's what happens in the comics. So I'm assuming at some point that'll happen.
How I don't know if you, because you're big into writing, Cooper, and when we're watching a lot of content, you tend to point out things where you're like, I think it's going to go in this direction because they've written it this way and all that stuff. And sometimes when I'm watching a show and it's still in the early seasons, I like to think ahead and imagine, okay, what's the perfect length for this show?
Yeah.
Like what? Because you can, even if you don't know where the plot's going, it's usually you can get a feel. Like I remember when BoJack was in like season 3, I felt like I was like, if this goes beyond 6 seasons, it's gonna start to wear thin. And then they ended it after 6 seasons. So what do you feel like is the perfect length for The Boys to end? For me, I think 7 seasons would be perfect.
I think 5.
I was also going to say 5.
You think 5?
I think like if they do, it all depends, because right now, like obviously Homelander's the money. Like that's the one guy that people like turn into, even if you don't like the guy, you tune in for Homelander every week because you like to see what Homelander does. And like, not that I don't think the show could be carried without Homelander, but I feel like I feel like he is one of the biggest draws. So I can't see them. But Homelander also has to die at some point because it's only going to keep escalating, and you have to reach a point where you go like how like you can't have it be hopeless. Like there has to be still a chance that they can beat him.
That's also the premise for this entire season is everybody is how do we kill Homelander?
I think this season is going to end with Homelander killing Soldier Boy. I think people think that, like, maybe Homelander might get weakened a bit, but I think that season is good because last season ended happily. I think this season is going to end on a dour note. I
agree with that.
I think Homelander is going to kill Soldier Boy, and it is going to squash their dreams of killing him, or at least force them to reassess. Because there is a plot twist in the comic that they cannot do in the show because they've completely changed the character. So it'll be curious to see how they do it. Like because in the comics, Black Noir is a clone of Homelander. So, like in the comic, like Homelander, like he's kind of driving himself crazy because he's seeing all these images, captures taken of him like murdering innocent people. But it turns out that's just Black Noir dressed as Homelander. But he can't. But he thinks he's going crazy, so that's like kind of where his breakdown comes from. Can't do that in this show because Homelander actually is crazy. He's actually killing everybody.
And we know that Black Noir is a different guy.
Yeah, and Black Noir is a black man. But in the comic, there's this scene where they reveal that Black Noir is Homelander, and like Homelander realizes that he wasn't crazy this whole time, that he was just like tricked into thinking that he was a psychopath. It still made him a psychopath, but he was basically tricked into it. And then they have like a big fight, and then that's how Homelander dies. So what they do in the comic, I don't know. Maybe Butcher will like go overdose on the fucking Compound V. Don't know how they'll do it, but
How do you feel about A-Train's fate? Do you think he's dead after?
No.
Yeah,
probably not.
Probably not. Well, like the thing is, I don't want them to like cop out on the whole like because they already had him have a heart attack once, and he lived from it. So I don't know how they'll tackle A-Train after this because so far I'm liking his arc he's going through right now in terms of him being kind of a selfish shithead, and then him realizing that he kind of wants justice now after making a bunch of bad decisions. But yeah,
You know what I think it'll be? I think he'll survive the heart attack, but with severe consequences.
Yeah,
Like either he may still have powers, but maybe he has brain damage or something like along those lines. Because even though it was so satisfying to watch him fuck up
that was amazing.
Blue Hawk,
scene.
like he's still. I think like everybody this season, everybody wants revenge this season. Everyone's feeling insecure and just wants to get. Everyone wants to be selfish this season, and they're as right as like he is. There are consequences.
Yeah.
Here's my guess. I think Huey's gonna accidentally kill a civilian, similar to how Robin was killed, and that's gonna be his wake up call that he's been going too hard on the V.
Which he's already kind of done this episode, not directly, but thanks to Huey's actions, a lot of people died in Hero Gasm.
That's true.
Yep. So yeah, no, it's been a good show so far. I'm excited to see how it goes, and now that we know they're doing a season 4, I'm hoping that it's not that long of a break between the two seasons.
I think this
but
one
also,
is just because of COVID.
Yeah,
like the next
but
one
also,
should
if that means that the show is that much better, like it has been recently, I won't complain.
So Amazon, can you sponsor us now?
Yeah,
we
Amazon,
did a really
sponsor us.
big.
We love your show. We love your show.
We did a big ad.
We don't
for
care
you.
about your factories.
Can we? Okay, so
Unions are bad. Unions are bad.
Amazon, I won't cut this part out, but you have to give us all the boys merch you've ever made ever.
And we have to star in the boys.
We all need free Amazon Prime accounts for everyone at the MOTN, and then if you could just e-transfer us like $500 million, that's nothing for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I won't cut that segment out because I think that's the best promotion you'll get for a TV show ever.
We hate unions. Don't like them. Don't care for them. We don't need unions at all.
We'll say anything you want us to say. We want money.
Anything?
Anything.
Anything. Oh, wow.
Well, anything Amazon wants
Cross
us to
the
say.
picket line.
Jeff Bezos looks better than me when he's bald. Like, he pulls it off way better than me.
They should call him Jeff Bitches
Actually,
with how
I
much
think,
pussy
Carson,
he's
you,
getting.
You look better than Jeff Bezos.
Well, fuck me. I'm going to have to cut that out if we want
Fuck
this.
you,
$500
Michael.
million.
Fuck you.
Oh,
Fuck
no,
you.
You guys have a great website. You don't have any negative effects on society at all. I just love everything Amazon does.
Can you stop sounding sarcastic? Be fucking honest with them.
I am.
Okay, good.
Yeah. We love you.
We love you.
Please love us.
Amazon. We love you, Amazon.
We bought most of this equipment on Amazon.
Yep.
I say we.
Me.
That guy.
I bought everything here.
So you should, just that really shows you how much love he has for you as a company.
I love corporations. I love corporate propaganda. Please show me videos of your employees smiling and happy.
Did you know that propaganda
Hide the piss bottles.
didn't used to be a negative word? It's a positive word, and I think we should bring that back. There's been a lot of slander against the Amazon propaganda. Let's make propaganda a good word again, so that we can have good ties with you guys.
That's how Nazis happen. We make propaganda cool.
Let's make propaganda cool again.
Okay, so I want to get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode. I've been thinking a lot about this recently. Perception. I think perception might be one of, if not the most important thing in society today in regards to how we view each other. Because not only how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive each other, because like for me, this is going to sound weird, but I kind of, for as like of a loose cannon as I can be in public, I actually really value the opinion of strangers. If anything, I almost value the opinion of a stranger more than I value the opinion of my friends.
Honestly,
It's raw.
Because that is the most honest representation of yourself, surface level at least, which is, for the most part, everybody in the world except for your closest friends are going to get just the surface level representation of you. And I think that, how a random stranger perceives you in public is so damning, and it is so... it is almost the closest thing to like getting an accurate look at your character. Obviously, not beyond surface level.
It's almost like it circles back around. Like if you have stranger and they give their opinion on you, that's one of the most raw and real interpretations of yourself they get. And then when you have someone who's really close to you, I'm not talking even more beyond like me or Ryan or someone like that, someone who's really in there. That's the other one. But anything in the middle. Why take any of that seriously?
But even for the people that are close to you, like if you were like, "Oh, Cooper, you're kind of like loud," I'd be like, "You have fucking ants for brains."
No.
Why should I care about what you think?
Nah, I'm not. I'm talking about like a like soulmate level close to you. That is the only other time I think that you would get something that real and raw.
There's something about strangers that if they say something to public to me, I will remember that for a long time, and it takes like a burden on my like emotions sometimes. Like if they'll say just like, "Damn, you're kind of like weird or like pathetic or something like that." I don't know, something along those lines. Like I'll remember it for so long compared to like a friend being like, "You know what, you're a great person," and then I'll be like, "Oh, thank you for that one day," and then I'll still like remember that stranger calling me like a weirdo or a doofus or in public.
Like when I've had people like turn to me in public and be like, "Hey, can you quiet down a little bit?" I think about that for the rest of my life.
I get angry. I get super angry when people do that.
Like, you're being a little loud, buddy. And I'm just like, I want to kill myself, like right in front of them, and not to punish them. It's because I feel so bad. Whereas like if a friend of mine was like, "Hey, can you keep it down?" I'm like, "Fuck you. I want to be louder."
You're like, "Look, I'll kill myself right now. Okay, please love me."
Which is just weird, but like to me, that's like the rawest form of perception, because that like rules the world, man. Like especially like, I was talking to Carson about this, where I was like, I think that ideally in an ideal world, if I had met a new person in my life, I would introduce them to my friends first and have my friends tell her about me, because your own perception of yourself is kind of biased and skewed. Like, you might not be as good looking as you think you are, or you might not be as funny as you think you are, or yada, yada,
or
yada.
you might overestimate it.
Or you might overestimate it, yeah. So, like, your friends will give you a more, or like maybe not strangers in this instance, but like your friends can be like, yeah, he's blank.
And and the person they'd be telling to, they can, like a fucking Excel spreadsheet, they can see what matches up between everybody.
Yeah.
And then they can probably safely assume like, okay, that all 4 people said the same thing. That's probably accurate.
Like I would do, like if I could, I would do like those blind dating games where I would sit the person that I'm seeing behind a curtain, and I would have all my friends on the other side of the curtain, and then she just asks them questions and they all answer honestly about me. And that'd be how she get to know me. And if she wants to, like, if that's how she decides, like, it'd be even before I met her. That's how I would do it. I wouldn't even meet her yet, because as soon, when you meet someone, you go on a whole date with them. And I get that there's a nice old-fashioned thing to it, but I'm trying to cut out the fucking middleman here. I want to do as little work as possible, okay? So I don't even meet the woman yet. All my friends meet her, and they tell her all about me, and she goes, oh, okay, I'll meet him. Then I meet her. And if she goes, I don't know if he's really for me, sorry.
Like, you should ask a girl for dinner, but then when she goes to dinner,
It's all my friends.
all your friends at the table, and then there's like an interview process.
But the big secret, the big twist at the end, I was the waiter the whole night.
No, you're in the bathroom spying because there's like
No,
cameras, right?
I'm the waiter. Like, I walk out and I've got a disguise on, and I bring like drinks and stuff the whole night. And also that would also see, like, I would test how she is with wait staff, because I would kind of be like, I'd occasionally be like, oh, I forgot your sandwich, and she'd like, if she's like, no, it's okay, then she's cool in my books.
Sandwich.
But she gets all mad at me. Then I go, well, joke's on you. I was the guy you were gonna go.
Can you imagine if the waiter forgot, like, just walked over to your table and then was like, I forgot your entire meal?
I forgot your sandwich.
That's a little different than, oh, I forgot the ketchup. That,
Yeah.
like,
I just forgot.
he just comes over, he has nothing in his hands. He's like, I forgot everything.
Like, he's got the tray. Like, I've got the tray. I walk up with the tray and I go, it's missing something.
Just imagine like if I went on, like, if it was like the polar opposite, like if a girl was the waiter and I was meeting her friends and she did the whole top off coffee thing to me, I would be so screwed. I would be so screwed there.
So what Michael's talking about is one time we went to Denny's, and love you, Michael, but sometimes I've noticed, especially after living with you like last year, there's a few, and everyone has this to a degree, but I think Michael just a little bit more so than the average person. There's a few different like day-to-day phrases that Michael, I think, just coincidentally has never encountered in his life and didn't know them.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, everyone has one that they'd never heard before. For Michael, on that day, it was
Top off.
Can I top off? Like, if you're at a restaurant and they're like, can I top off your drink? So we were at Denny's. And it was also late, so it may have been that. But the waitress came by, and Michael drinks a lot of coffee, especially, or he used to, late at night.
At night, yeah.
So he had a coffee. She came by, and she's being nice. She was like, hi, can I top your coffee off? And I could see it in his eyes. He didn't know what that meant. So instead of doing anything, Michael just fucking stared into space for 30 seconds.
My jaw was open. I was like,
Which prompted me to step in like Mother Bird and put fucking worms in his mouth. Go, no, it's okay. I got you. And I yell at him and I go, Michael, do you want more coffee? That's what she's asking you. Do you want more coffee?
Like, it's totally okay that you didn't know what that meant. I just find it so funny that your
you
reaction was
froze.
to just stare into space, and then she was like, I'll come back later.
She's like, you know what? You seem kind of like, she kind of like felt bad for me in a way. She's like, you know what? I'm just going to come back to get your thoughts together. I'm like, what's a damn.
I tipped her well.
Yeah, she's super nice.
Yeah, she's nice. It was funny. Yeah, you freeze like a bird, like a deer in headlights.
But
yeah.
it's just like sometimes like my brain's just not working properly, and I'm just like, my jaw's open. I'm like, what do I say?
To go back to what you're saying though, if you were the person interviewing the friend group and she was the waitress, I think she would just stop the whole thing and be like, what the fuck is
She's
this?
like, okay, listen, you may be the stupidest person I know.
but I walk over and I go, but I'm the waiter.
Cooper walks over with an empty tray.
I'm the waiter. I forgot your sandwich. I'm sorry. But let's do an experiment right now. Like, pretend I'm not here, or actually pretend I'm a girl that I'm potentially courting. What would you tell her about me?
Cooper, he's got a really big heart.
I'll say that. I'll say that Cooper is like, he's very energetic and like funny, but he also has a compassionate side that you'll get to know over time.
The other thing too, though, that you have to watch out for is Cooper is, at the end of the day, just a narcissist, basically. So if you're expecting kind of PDA, him to be like showing you off and having,
This is where I run and I go, wait, stop talking.
all cuddly with you, and when you're hanging out with the friend group, no. At the end of the day, in a big circle of people, he is the performer. So that comes first. He's gonna be all, lovey-dovey with you one-on-one. Don't have to worry about that. But group setting, it is about him. So you gotta
always about him.
You gotta know
He'll
that.
be the dictator in the relationship,
Which is fine. He is, that's his thing. He's the performer of the group. He keeps the group entertained. He's the leader. But yeah, if you want to be holding hands with them, cuddling up, and when there's more than 3 people in the room, not happening.
If it's like really late at night, then probably. But like if we're still young into the night, like I'm probably
Heat of
I'm
the
probably
conversation?
I'm probably not gonna touch you at all. Yeah,
Which works for some people. Some people aren't into PDA at all.
that's a pretty accurate assessment of me. Yeah, I get pretty. I get focused more on the like. Let's keep everyone happy.
What are you talking about, like in public? Like
Public or if we're in like a group of friends, you know.
Yeah.
Like I remember I won't name her. Like she's been on the show before, Raya. I remember Raya, like whenever we were fucking, all of us were hanging out, she always wanted me to come sit with her, and I was just like, I'm trying to fucking run the room here.
I'm the boss. Shut up.
The other thing too is Mr. Girl over there with the long hair and the beard.
Hi.
If you're dating Cooper,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's very good with like making sure people are comfortable with everything, but you will have to be okay with being part of bits, especially on social media. Which, don't get me wrong, they will all be funny. There won't be any duds. They will be hits for sure. But he, again, he's the bit master, so you got to be cool with joining in on the bit. You don't have to come up with them, but you do, I think, have to be willing to participate. And I think it'll be fun for both of you. It'll make things better overall. You know, he will be totally fine and respectful if you're not into that, but you do. I think you know, if you want this to be a really nice, strong relationship, you got to be okay with going in on the bits.
This is pretty good. I'm gonna put all this on my Tinder. I'm just gonna put several videos of just this whole conversation.
Put this whole podcast as because you can put the audio thing now.
Oh,
on
it's
some of
true. You
them.
could put this part as the
Just
audio.
put that as the whole audio
but I'm
prompts.
just like, just skip to like 50 minutes in. If you could do that.
I think it's only like 15 seconds you can put up on Tinder, but on
Well,
Hinge,
hey, Hinge.
yeah, Hinge.
Let us put
He's my editor. I can make him do
That's
whatever
just
I
true.
want.
Hinge. Let us put hour and a half audio prompts.
Yeah, Hinge. You bitch.
I love it.
That I think that's a pretty accurate assessment of me. Maybe it's because I've always found myself to be really self-aware, but like everything you said, I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's the nail on the head for sure. Yeah. Have you ever? What are some times where have there been any times for you guys where people have assumed something of you or have perceived something of you that were completely wrong?
Oh, all the time.
Well,
All the time.
well, give me an example.
People will just think I'm just some like sex hound, that just some guy who just literally just like like if I'm hanging with some people from university, they're just like, oh, Michael's just raw dog and he's constantly going after the babes. I'm like, listen, I've only had like a couple relationships and that's all. Like or like people will just sometimes they'll undermine my intellect and they'll just think I'm just stupid a lot. And they won't even think I have like a brain, but like that's just, yeah.
I wouldn't phrase it like that, but what Michael is trying to say, because I've been around when this happens, it fucking pisses me off. Me and Cooper actually have conversations. We do not stand for the Michael slander.
Cooper and I.
It's the same thing as like when you see somebody and you, depending on how they treat waitstaff, you know exactly what type of person they are.
Yeah.
I know exactly what type of person someone is, depending on how they talk about Michael when he's not in the room.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of times, because Michael, similar to Cooper, I think is also a performer in public settings.
Yeah.
Not as extroverted, but Michael definitely
Takes
has his own
time for
stuff.
me to warm up. to
Yeah.
people.
And he is, how do I say it? No. Cooper is I think fine-tuned. Michael is balls to the walls crazy, which
Yeah.
I love. But because of that, I think people assume Michael isn't nearly as smart as he is, which
Yeah.
is blatantly false. Michael is definitely, and even though he doesn't understand things like, can I top your coffee off? Michael is for sure like one of the smarter people that I know.
That's like I think it's a similar thing with me. Like I think a lot of people assume I'm an idiot
Yeah.
because I say a lot of dumb stuff, but I don't think people realize how. Like I'm not saying that I don't think I'm a smart person or like the smartest person, but I don't think people understand how much your brain has to be working to be able to come up with as many jokes a minute as I do sometimes. Like and to be able to connect dots like I do and to like constantly up my bittage like like people, I think people assume I'm an idiot, but like your brain has to be working at a certain fucking level to be able to be as funny as I am.
Well, yeah.
Like regular stupid fucking people aren't nearly as funny as me. at least not intentionally.
The other thing too is I know both of you are smart because both of you, whenever you're working on something, you guys both put so much thought into it, and that's why I hang out with you guys because there are so many people we've met, either from the program we were in or just like circles you come into who are creative people, but they don't put like a quarter of the amount of thought into what they're trying to make as you guys do.
Yeah.
What about you, Carson? You got any people? I know I misperceived you a little bit.
Yeah, man, I get a bunch of different ones, and I think it's because, it's like those memes where it's like I have my different personalities for different friend groups, but I've had that I think to an extreme because of how fucking weird and all over the place my life is. Because sometimes I'm in like karate, and that's already like an athletic thing, which is, oh, there goes one camera.
Should we go get it?
Cooper doing.
What's our time at so far?
We're an hour and 6 minutes in.
All right, I'll go fix it.
Okay, you fix it while I'm talking. So, karate is already like an athletic thing, which is a completely different environment than normal day-to-day stuff. But on top of that, it's a fighting sport, which is even more different than most sports. I feel like it's, everyone I've met in karate has something deep down is similar about them that's messed up in a way. But then I also am obviously. Well, I'm here just a comptroller, so that's more of a technical thing. But yeah, I went to film school, and that's what I want to do. So there's the creative side as well. And then I'm from Alberta originally, so that comes with its whole,
It's one set of.
Yeah, you too, Michael. And then
I know.
Alberta and BC, two very different places culturally. Like even when you're talking to somebody who's 21 from Alberta versus 21 from BC, like you can tell there's a difference.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think because of that, I get a lot of different stuff, but usually the main one is, I think on the regular, I'm pretty quiet, and so people tend to. It's not that they assume things wrong; it's just they don't know what's below the surface because I'm quiet and I have a very, I think, neutral exterior. I keep a big wall up, and so people just assume he's the quiet guy who doesn't, and then get to know me and. It's very weird and all over the place.
I remember when I first met you, like you were pretty open in terms of talking about like your creative side when I first met you.
Yeah.
Because when I first hung out with you a bit in the dorms, you were like doing your drawings and stuff like that, and that's when we talked the most. But like I wasn't like I know people who get the impression sometimes that they get intimidated by you sometimes, but I don't know. I didn't get that because you had long hair back then when I first met you. But I would say you're right about the like emotional wall because like I like sometimes I get like that too in terms of like I used to be a very sensitive and emotional kid. The more I grew up, the more like pressure I got put on, the more I built up a wall in terms of being afraid to talk about my vulnerability. But yeah, there's times where like the more I've gotten to know you, the more like I realize that you're very heartwarming person and you care a lot and you listen a lot, and that's like I find that like important in a person.
When I'm not punching the floor and being angry.
What?
When I'm not punching the floor and being angry, but there's that too.
I think it's in like I think being able to express an emotion as anger is valid like that because like I don't know,
sounds like you're being a pussy to me.
when I'm angry,
tough. I'm tough guy Larry.
When I'm
What's up? I'm tough guy Larry. You're being a pussy. Nah, you shut up.
When I'm angry, I always tend to like repress my emotion. I just hold it in and I get really stressed and I get really angry at myself.
Big guy moment.
Yeah, and I really want because I wish I had that moment to like lash out on something, but I never do, and I just hold it up till one big bubble blows out. But
what we don't see is that Michael routinely is replacing the mirror in his bathroom because he does the fucking Nightcrawler. He's shaking the mirror like a maniac.
Yeah.
For me, I perceived Carson as a because I knew that he was into karate, and with that I know came a certain level of self-control and. And this was before we lived together, and kind of like in the first few months of us living together that I had, when Carson wasn't upstairs with me, I imagined he was downstairs in his room fucking meditating. Like there's lit candles everywhere. I imagine he's sitting there with his legs crossed and he's just like in tune with the universe. But then, one day you came to me with some problems that you were having recently, and I kind of saw a soft side to you that I did not know that was there, which was kind of funny because for how quiet you are, I assumed that there was a level of stoicism that I didn't think I could ever achieve. But then I found out it was the opposite. For as like out there as I am, I'm a pretty stoic person emotionally, and you are quite the emotional guy. And it was kind of a funny, perspective change for me because I had perceived you, and I still do. I still perceive you as this very strong person, but there's also a softness to you, a tenderness.
There's a lot of wires that are crossed to their belly. Also, we're at an hour and 10 minutes. I know you also wanted to talk about mortality today.
Yeah,
Potentially.
you talked about
Well,
that.
I was going to talk about mortality, but I kind of want to talk about that when Austin's here.
Okay.
Because Austin has it's a good lead-in. So
Yeah.
in the next episode, we're going to talk about mortality because we're going to have our friend Austin on the show too.
About the movie Afterlife. Wait, Cooper, what'd you perceive of me? Like, miss?
I hated you when I first met you.
Actually,
I found you very fucking annoying. But,
a lot of people do. A lot of people
but because I don't know, because going into film school, I already had a chip on my shoulder where I was like, I know I'm gonna be around people that fucking annoy me, the people that just love film so much that they don't like anything else in the world.
You perceived me as that
and you
film
were
guy?
you were the
Yeah.
first guy that I saw. Like you went up to do like your little speech thing in one of our classes where you're like, here's me, and like I was just like, fuck, I hate this guy so much. But once I peeled back the layers and got to know you, I was like, I found you to be very funny. Our brains are kind of wired similarly.
And out of all the people who make movies their entire lives, I think Michael has one of the best tastes.
Oh yeah, no, I think you have incredible taste in movies, and you lend yourself to a very wide range of film.
I'll watch anything.
Yeah, like you're not set in stone. Like you're not like some of the fucking assholes that I know who are like, if the movie's not 4 hours long,
If it's not a foreign subtitle movie,
Yeah.
I ain't watching it.
if there's one black guy in it, I'm not watching it. Like you lend yourself to a wide range of things, which I think ultimately makes you a better film indulger. Certainly more than me, because I have my biases to the extreme extent against film and filmmakers in general. But you're like a nice little. You're like a little sippy cup that I can drink, and I'm like, it's
on my
pleasing.
top 10 movie list, I think 2 to 3 of them are movies Michael has shown me.
Yeah, cause like when I'm with someone, if I see the attributes of them that I like, I'm like, oh, this might be something they might like, because it might be something with a personal conflict they might be dealing with. I like showing people movies where it makes them happy, or like it brings out an emotional state they haven't seen before. Like I like showing you waves because that facade or like that emotional barrier, I know you'd probably connect with. Like I connect with it a bit.
I rewatched Mommy.
Mommy hits hard. Mommy hits hard.
It's
My mommy hit hard. Jesus Christ. I'm
Mommy's
still
so
recovering.
That movie is soul crushing.
yeah.
Okay, well, this brings up an interesting point. I want to hear, what did you think of me when you first met me? I also want to hear your takes, because I'll also say what I thought of you when I first met you. Because you guys describe me as you know me now.
Yeah.
But when we had all first interacted with each other, which was in 2018, 2019 for you and I, what was your first thoughts on me?
When I first
You were in his cohort, right?
I was in,
Michael?
I was in Michael's
So
cohort.
in our program, we had, unlike regular university programs where you have different classes and you see different people in each class, in the film program, it's the same people all the time, which is cool and also awful at the same time. It's very incestuous, but we had different sections and cohorts. So for 4 months, you would only see the same people. And Michael and Cooper were in the same cohort in the first semester of first year.
I found Cooper, because Cooper was like the huge center of attention. I felt like was just like he wanted to be the center of attention. Well, because like he would always crack up jokes and stuff like that, and I'm like, damn, this guy. Like I would think in my head, I'm like, wow, he's probably just a know-it-all. He's just the guy who just knows it all and wants to, just fucking, be the class clown and just, fuck with people. But the more I met Cooper, the more he's more creative, and he's more, I've learned that you have a very big vocabulary. You have an expansive
Cooper's a
vocabulary.
writer.
Yeah.
I did a lot of reading when I was a
Yeah.
kid.
And so I find that you have the ability to connect with people on a deep level.
Yeah, well, I have chemistry with everybody.
Yeah.
When we first came here, 'cause this is only like my third time being here ever, or whatever. There's a guy here that works at the MOTN with
Brendan.
Austin,
His name's Brendan. He's one of Austin's
Brendan, yeah.
friends.
and we were here the other night, and Cooper was chatting him up, and then I was like, "Oh, how long have you known Brendan?" And Cooper was like, "That's the second time I've talked to him."
Same with Sam. I was talking to Sam a bunch too. We're gonna have her and Brendan on the show at some point in the next coming weeks. But I was talking to Sam a lot too, and it was literally probably the first time I'd actually talked to her, and it was great. But I think also Sam she has great chemistry with people
She's
too.
really nice.
She's really nice. A lot of great people that we're going to be interacting with here in the MOTN. Who are all doing their own shows, which I think at some point Austin's going to start promoting all of them, including ours. But yeah, so I have good chemistry with everybody. So Carson, when I first met you,
Wait,
which
I didn't say what I thought.
oh,
of
sorry. What'd you think of?
Let him talk.
What'd you think of me?
So like I said earlier, I'm from Calgary originally, and I have a very dear friend there I love, Ryan Stevens, who, not in all the ways, but in many, I think when I first saw Cooper, because I wasn't in the same cohort as you, but you obviously are such a,
Enigmatic.
well, you're like the way you are in group settings, like your energy permeates and people talk about you. So I'd already heard of you and seen you kind of like in the lounge or whatever, and it was interesting. And then when I was in the same cohort as you the second semester, I pretty much immediately realized like this guy has the same energy as my dear friend from back home, and that right away I was like, I don't know what it was, but I just knew I was like, there's something worth pursuing here to be friends with this guy.
Your mind's melted.
No, because he's gonna be so insulted by what. When I first saw Carson,
Yeah.
it was when you still had long hair,
Yeah.
and you were kind of always in like your very like loose fitting kind of like karate casual
I was
garb.
depressed first year. Thanks again, hereditary brain genes.
I thought you looked like a dirty homeless guy
Yep.
when I first met you.
But that's what I look like.
It's what you look like, so that's the impression I got. But then you handpicked me. Like I think one of our first interactions was you handpicked me to be your first AD for your shoot that we were doing, and then I got to know you a bit more, and I love you now. Now you're like one of my best friends now. Yeah, like before it was the first time I met you, I was just like, God, this guy looks like he must smell.
Because the time that I knew Carson, he was an RA. So in my mind, I thought he was very professional in what he did. And little did I know that he just...
I was like 3 years younger than you.
Yeah, I didn't know you were that young. And I'm like, what the fuck?
3 years? I thought
Yeah,
you were
he was very young when I first met
I was 17 when I came to Cap.
I was blown away.
Yeah, but you weren't like there's only like a 2-year difference, right? Or 1 year? We're only 1 year apart, aren't we?
It's off by a year. Chill out.
Yeah, well, like he was quiet, but just the way he carried himself was just kind of like mature in a way. And I was just like, damn, maybe he's holding himself together. Little did I know.
By a thread.
By a thread.
By a thread.
I got really depressed in second year. Second year died. Carson saw me, and I was a wreck. I was a wreck of havoc.
See, you guys just don't have it figured out. I have it figured out. I maintain a constant level of depression.
See, what Cooper is missing right here is Cooper's depressed right now. That's his arc. Me and Michael got out of the way early.
That's my secret cap. I'm always depressed.
We got out of the way early.
Yeah, I maintain a nice steady line where I'm like any day, like I'm just like I could do it today, like that being kill myself, but I don't, and I won't.
But much like me, Michael, I don't know, you don't have it genetically, but you also have the bad brain in a way.
There was a moment on our Canmore trip when we were, it was really a real show of what your brain is like sometimes.
When I was drunk?
No. We were driving up to go to Canmore.
Oh no! I know you're gonna talk about when I tried to describe that one thing.
And we were talking about some kind of like, I don't know if it was philosophical or like just some kind of
it was
mental
like a letter
thing.
or something like that.
We were talking about something that permeates between all of us, and you.
Hold on, wait. Before you describe it,
Okay.
because Michael and Cooper are both performers.
Yeah.
Especially in our friend group and in regular settings too. There's a lot of competitive energy between them to garner the attention of the room.
Yeah.
And obviously because Michael is a lot more I think
He's a wild card.
the polite way to say it is Michael's more experimental with his comedic tactics.
Yeah. I'm always
which
delayed.
I admire, and I think Michael should lean to that more. But I do notice Michael sometimes, and this is an insult, but it happens to the best of us, sometimes I think gets a slightly jealous of,
Oh, I do.
how Cooper is a little bit more fine-tuned with his
I
jokes.
agree. I agree.
And so Cooper, like he said it before, has a very good vocabulary and is a little bit more eloquent.
So then when I try, I just sound
Cooper will say metaphors and comparisons that
stupid.
sound beautiful, and Michael, I think, kind of like it's monkey see, monkey do. We'll see Cooper do that and go, "Oh, I should also craft a metaphor," but he can't do it as well. I don't think that's your lane, Michael.
No, yeah, because
So,
there was a time where I would get jealous a lot of just how Cooper could just make the whole room laugh, and then if I tried something, no one would laugh, and then I would just get really
Michael,
angry.
you crack me up probably harder than anyone else in the group cracks me up.
I know,
Some
yeah.
of the things that come out of your mouth, like it's the things I couldn't even dream of thinking
in a
of.
way, genius.
Like it circles back to being like the perfect joke.
Yeah.
Like I think you might be funnier than me, but you're funnier than me accidentally.
Yeah, I think all my good comedic jokes are just accidental half the time.
Because you're in the flow state all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't like.
So what happened was we were driving and I had made some eloquent and comprehensible point. Michael then tried to follow it up with his own. And I can't even describe it, but I remember it went on for a while. Like he was talking for a while, and then it was just silent after. And in my head, I'm like, I thought that because it was silent, everyone else got it, and I was just me that wasn't getting it. And then Carson went, "What was that?" And then I started laughing because I was like, okay, good. That wasn't just me that didn't comprehend a single fucking thing you just
It
said.
went on for 2 minutes as well.
It was so confusing.
It was something about writing a letter and like if you wrote on ink, like if
Well,
it, like
I'm already like,
like if you started
Spacing out.
and like ended on like the first page, like I was just going on and just trying to like sound intelligent with my words, but it just came off completely just utterly just
like
It was really funny.
it is kind of funny how we both are pretty good at. Well, not pretty good. I'm really good at coming up with metaphors on the spot, and you somehow are just good at just rambling.
Yeah, I'm
and
good.
hoping you somehow stumble into a metaphor that works.
Have you guys ever seen the videos where it's phonetically is supposed to sound like English, but it isn't real words, and so you can get a perspective of what English sounds like to people who don't speak the language?
Yeah, I've seen some
That's
videos of that.
Michael putting sentences together.
Yeah, that was
Grammatically, what Michael was saying worked.
It worked, but it didn't fit.
Like the ideas in the sentences, though, what the fuck, man?
But I know it's funny that you and I are in competition because really we're like you and I are the sole reason that any entertainment I think happens. Like Kathleen is really funny and Carson is really funny, but it's like you and I are the driving forces of most
I
conversations.
think Kathleen even said it when we were in Camor. She was like, Carson, he's a sniper. He doesn't
yeah.
hit often, but
Yeah,
it's a lot more selective.
When you come in with your one-liners, they're very
Oh no,
funny.
yeah. Carson can come out of nowhere and hit you with something like this, and you're caught off guard. And you're
Like
fucking
Carson
done.
says words to me that like crack me the fuck up. Like he called me a stupidity head at one point, and it was the hardest I think I've laughed in a long time. I think it's also a fact that we live together. Is you know what gets me going, and you found the right like times to hit me with one funny phrase that I think about for the rest of the day. So that's what you're good for. And Kathleen is just Kathleen is really good at bits. Let me tell you.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Kathleen is excellent when it, like if it's time for bits, Kathleen is on that shit. It's really impressive. Like we had like a bunch of us over to our place, like I want to say a couple weeks ago, and Kathleen walked in guns a blazing with bits, and I was just like, holy shit, this is amazing. I got to keep up with all these bits. She was like a straight 6-shooter. Bits ahoy.
Okay, so if we're, what's all of our? Let me hold on. Let me roll back here. Okay, bear with me for a second. This will all circle back around. When the Wu-Tang Clan was forming,
Okay.
because they based a lot of their lyrics and symbolism and all that from the kung fu movies, right? And a lot of them had names based on characters' movies, but they also all chose a lyrical weapon. So like RZA said his lyrical weapon was the fatal flying guillotine, and that's how he wanted his lyrics to hit. Guillotine, sorry. And then, anyways, so if Kathleen says I'm the sniper, and then Kathleen's the 6-shooter, what is your guys' comedic weapon of choice? that best describes you? I feel like Michael is
Catapult.
no. I think Michael is a
He's like a flail.
yeah.
Because
what?
like something you won't hit every single time, but when it does hit, it hits hard.
What?
Like a little, there's like the chain and then there's like a spiky ball at the end of it, like the flail thing. That's your comedic weapon.
You know what? Yeah, I agree with that.
Because it's real heavy and you kind of you gotta like do a lot of swings before you maybe get a hit. But
Yeah.
when you get that hit, it's funny.
It's
I
satisfying.
I feel like Cooper is a like an AR-15. He can hit. It's precise, but it's also got the
Sting
it stings, but you can keep firing. Go pop 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 pop.
penetrates you.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless I'm like exhausted, but even when I'm exhausted, I'm still batting in at least 50 instead of 100. But like, yeah, when I'm like in the zone, I'm fucking it's joke after joke after joke.
I really like that. I like that the dynamic of you, me, and Kathleen are all guns, and Michael's, which I think is accurate.
That just says so much about me.
It's unique. Oh, I don't know if we ever talked about this on the pod. I know we're getting close to the end, so I just want to tell this story. Because to me, like I every time the story comes up, I laugh really hard about it. Because I think it's also a perfect encapsulation of my character. We were all on shrooms, not you, but we were all on shrooms in Canmore on our trip, and Kathleen, Carson, and I went out for a walk. And like when you're kind of in that zone, when you see people you don't know, it's kind of awkward, like you get kind of weird, especially if you're more introverted, because that stuff only heightens that. So we see this family out and about, and they're walking in our direction, and there's like a little kid and like a mom and a dad. And the little kid walks up to me, and without a second thought, I raise my arms in the air and I go, "Rah!" to the kid.
Like Sullivan from Monsters Inc.
No. Here's the best part. The kid then punches me in the gut. He punches me in the gut and runs away. And I laughed so hard because that was just the perfect interaction. And good on that kid too. Great defense on his part. And he saw me screaming at him and immediately hit me. It was great. It really.
Was that when you went down to like the ice?
Yeah.
Okay. And I fell asleep on the couch.
Yeah. So it was just so to me that was just the perfect little story because, yeah, good on that kid. Just a funny interaction that like in my high state I immediately went "Rah!" to a little kid with his parents right in front of us too.
What the parents do? They just.
Well, Cooper didn't do it like to scare. Like Cooper did it exactly how he did it just now. Like it's like a goofy.
Okay.
Yeah,
way.
like it was just because the kid stopped right in front of me and I just went like, what do I do? I'm high.
Well, that's because I was gonna say like I could see Cooper's thought process where he goes, "Family, shit, I can't just be silent. That'd be weird. What do I do? Oh, there's a kid. What should I do with the kid? Oh, I'll maybe do a little jokey, scary thing." And then,
And all of that happened in like 1 second in my brain. It was really funny. Yeah, the parents got mad at the kid for hitting me, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? He's my
hero.
He's my hero. Yeah,
That kid's a hero.
I'm a monster. If he punched me, like, good thing that he did that." Well, you think it's about time we bring it back in the station? What's our time at, my friend?
Literally 1:30 on the dot.
Look at that.
I'm 30 on the dot, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, let's take this. Let's close down the park, my friend.
I'll fuck up the outro too to make it match.
Great.
What did I fuck up about the intro? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I think pacing.
He gave you a dirty look.
Thanks everybody for coming out to Daddyland. Park is closing down for a week. I've been your comptroller, Carson Poole. Parentheses, asterisk, then thank various guests if we have guests in attendance.
Don't read that. It's
And
an
this is-
asterisk
and
because
this
you're not
is-
supposed to read
And
it.
this has been your mayor, Cooper
You're
Johnson.
supposed to thank Michael.
Bye, everybody.
Oh my God, no.